essentially, you want to do it in blocks of 2. So you want to get into your over with your 2 best balls, and then you want to try and see what you've got. Is it at that point you need a defensive option or do you need an attacking option? Whether you've got an off cutter, it's into the pitch, or it's a genuine slower ball. Generally, they tend to be the defensive options, depending on the surface. And your more attacking slower ball options tend to be the knuckle ball or the one out the back of the hand. Those ones that are a little bit more high risk, but generally they will end up getting wickets because batters, it's a bit more difficult for batters to see. Okay, so bowling Yorkers, to try and get our release position a fraction further back. Okay, so we really need to be pushing out and getting the ball, our release position right to be able to get that trajectory.
Cricket Life Stories with me, Neel Khagram. Today we're joined by Kent's bowling coach, Simon Cook. Simon, you're going to talk us through some fast bowling tactics specific to one-day cricket. Take it away.
To be successful in one-day cricket, you've got to have a super strength. It might be bowling a Yorker, it might be being relentless on a length, it might be your swing early on, it may well be your slow ball. But ultimately, you've got to have a ball or a delivery that you are supremely confident of delivering 100% of the time, which is going to cause a problem for the batters. Okay, so how do we construct an over? Very difficult to do in this situation in an indoor school in October because we haven't got the foresight of scoreboards and pressure and things like that. But essentially, you want to do it in blocks of 2. So you want to get into your over with your 2 best balls, and then you want to try and see what you've got. Is it at that point you need a defensive option or do you need an attacking option? At which point you can pull out your slower ball, which one it is. Is it an off cutter? Is it a back of the hand slower ball, if you've got them? Or it might be your best ball. Your best ball might be a straight Yorker, in which case that's the time to deploy that. Getting into the back end of the over, well, what's happened? Has the front half gone for a lot of runs, in which case you need to be trying to manage that and just trying to get out of the end of the over with no boundaries? Or has it actually gone really well and there's a lot of pressure on the batter, and that's when you need to make that calculated decision in tune with the captain as to what you're going to try and do. You're going to go for the risk and try and get that wicket, or are you actually just going to keep trying to squeeze the pressure and let scoreboard pressure dictate the game? I talk to our bowlers about whether you're bowling a slow ball because it's an attacking option or it's a defensive option. What are you trying to get out of it? And that will determine how you construct your over as well. So for example, if you've got an in batter in and you actually just want to try and get him off strike, you need to have a delivery that just gets him off strike, so you can maybe bowl at a tail ender, or you can just make sure that you're starving that guy of the strike, which then in turn will hopefully frustrate him a little bit, and then you can end up getting a wicket. So whether you've got an off cutter, it's into the pitch, or it's a genuine slower ball, generally they tend to be the defensive options, depending on the surface, and your more attacking slower ball options tend to be the knuckle ball or the one out the back of the hand. Those ones that are a little bit more high risk, but generally they will end up getting wickets because batters, it's a bit more difficult for batters to see. Okay, so bowling Yorkers. Very, very difficult skill to be able to execute time after time after time. And also the pressure has been increased in the fact that most batters now know how to hit a Yorker. They either ramp it over fine leg, or now they've started taking it over third man, which becomes a real problem. Ultimately, a good Yorker is still a very, very good delivery. And it's a very worthwhile ball to practice and to get right. Like I said, it's a difficult ball to get right, and quite often we'll see bowlers bowling a bit short and it comes into that slot area, which then gets taken over mid-wicket. So what are the things we can do to try and mitigate that? Well, one of the things we can do is adjust our sights. So if we're looking actually at the base of the stumps, for example, and we're bowling a bit shorter, then maybe we need to adjust our sights to maybe the middle of the stumps or maybe even the top of the stumps, just to try and get our release position a fraction further back. Okay, so we really need to be pushing out and getting the ball, our release position right to be able to get that trajectory. So that's the first thing we can do normally. The second thing I've done with our bowlers quite a bit is actually do the drill with your eyes closed. And that may sound a little bit strange, but if you take the stumps away, you go back 3 or 4 paces, close your eyes, run in and bowl when trying to bowl a Yorker, your body, you need to be informed about where your body's going and where the release position is. Can you feel it? Is it being released too far back? Is it being released too far forward? Where do you need to change it to get it to go onto a Yorker line and length? With your eyes closed, your brain cannot counteract anything. Your brain's a clever thing and it will work it out. And that's what you need to do. If you take your eyes away, your brain can't take over that, and all you can rely on is actually your body, your momentum and your release position and the information that you're getting from your body, which will help you get the ball a bit fuller. Expect the ball to go short, expect the ball to go full, expect it to go wide early on. But the more you get into that, the more you will actually find that your body will be able to bowl the ball there. And then you do it with your eyes open, and sometimes it can be a bit easier. Okay, so we've decided what's going to happen. We want to run in and we want to bowl a fast Yorker at the base of the stumps to hit this. We've set our field up, we've got fine leg up, and as you're running into bowl, you get to just pre-delivery takeoff and you see the batter go across and get down, and you're going to start thinking, oh, what options have I got at this point? Yeah, you can continue to back your Yorker to try and get it in, with the risk of potentially it might come off, might get ramped over the top of fine leg, go for 4. Again, scoreboard will inform you as to a decision as to what you might be doing. Or you could bowl a slower ball wider. Why do we do that? Why is that a good option? Well, with fine leg up, to get the ball over there with a slower ball off pace is a bit more difficult. There's a likelihood it could go up and get caught. If the batter does get it over the top, there's not enough pace on it to go for 4. And you've also got the option of actually potentially it could just end up being a dot ball, they could miss it, it could go through to the keeper. So the higher percentage chance of success is probably to go wider, slower. You make those decisions. You can't make those decisions at pre-delivery takeoff. You need to have that in the back of your mind before you set off and you run up. So you know that's going. So it's almost like a second gear cogging around just as you're running up. Okay, you see him go, okay, right, that's where I'm going to go to. You don't want to get into a position where you're just running up and bowling, because you'll just end up getting into a position where runs will just start leaking and leaking and leaking. You'll become under pressure more and more and more, and then that's when mistakes start to happen, because it becomes a bit of a whirlpool effect and you start getting a bit head muddled with regard to fields and everything else, and you start chasing the game, and that's not what you want to do.